Today's video focuses on the entire discography of the Deftones, Sacramento, California's very own alternative metal band that has been around since 1988 and has put out amazing record after amazing record after amazing record, pretty much from the very beginning. This band is a band that I fell in love with when I first saw their music video for My Own Summer back on MTV2 many years ago. And I went to Tower Records, okay, rest in peace, that on a whim I just bought the entire record and shared it with a friend of mine. And we have since then been hardcore Deftones fans. I have seen this band more times than any. I've seen them 15 or 16 times. So this list, it hits home. It comes from the heart. Because these are records that I have pretty much grown up listening to in the last 20 or so years. They are some of my favorite pieces of music from undoubtedly my favorite band on the planet. So, let's rank them from what I think is their worst record all the way to their best record. And we start with... this pains me. I reviewed Gore about a year and a half ago when the record came out, and at the time I think I remember giving it like an 8.5 or a 9 or a 9.5. I remember loving the record when it came out. Now, hindsight being 2020, I think it was just me hearing it for the first time and being really excited that I was listening to Deftones music again, new Deftones music, especially after the strength of Diamond Eyes and No Yokan. I was really looking forward to what the next direction of the record was going to be. But the truth of the matter is that Gore is a mess. Everything from its uneven production to its, the mix is just totally off. The bass is way up in the mix. The guitars are right in your face and the drums are all the way back for whatever reason. Chino sounds phenomenal on this record. His vocals are some of the best, but lyrically and melodically, vocally, this record's okay. It does have some highlights, very few unfortunately. Hearts Wires is a phenomenal song. It's one of their best that they've put out in quite some time. Gore is also another fantastic song that unfortunately is mired in poor production. I really wish the mix of that song was better because it is such a great song and it is so heavy. But there's so many songs on this record now that I just really can't get into. Acid Hologram is one of them. Xenon is another one. Although I like the chorus of Xenon, but just nothing really like captures the imagination, of what a Deftones record is. Unfortunately, it is a jumbled up mess of a record. Rubicon is a great closer. Doomed User is a fun song. Prayers Triangles it's a weird way to start a record, right? Like as an opener, it's very kind of like somber, and it doesn't hit you the way most Deftone record openers hit you, like a My Own Summer, like the opening track on White Pony, however you pronounce it. It pains me to say this because, again, at the time I listened to this record for the first time, I loved it. And with each, subsequent hearing of it, I've just grown less and less attached to it. But there's better stuff on the way, I promise. Whew, okay, I might get some hate on this one. So this... I've already said at the beginning of the video, I didn't get introduced to Deftones until Around the Fur came out. So I listened to Adrenaline after the fact. I had never heard 7 Words before. I had never heard Bored before. Nothing. The first Deftones song I ever heard was My Own Summer. And then after that, I got introduced to Adrenaline. And from a production standpoint, Adrenaline's not good. Chino's vocals are buried in the mix. You can hardly understand what he's saying half the time or the majority of the time. But there are some really good songs on here that translate so well live. Bored is one of them. Nosebleed. Root, 7 Words. Of course, Engine Number 9. My favorite from this album, Birthmark, which I've heard them play a few times, is so beautiful. That chorus, when Chino brings his voice up in the chorus, it's so awesome. And that riff, dun, 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 it's awesome. But you have to realize why I'm putting this so low. It's because the rest of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about is just amazing stuff. And that brings us to... Okay, let's talk about this record. When Deftones self-titled came out, it was on the heels of White Pony, arguably the band's greatest record of all time. And the first single that they put out for this record was Minerva, unmistakably Deftones. And then you put the record in, the first song you hear is Hexagram, which is such a mind-blowing album opener. Just such a fucking fun song. Needles and Pins, amazing song. And then you go to Minerva, which I've already spoken about. Good Morning Beautiful, also a great song. Where the record loses me is Deathblow. It's a good song, it's just slow to me. But I just think it kind of like throws a wrench into the flow of the record that was Hexagram, Needles and Pins, Minerva, and Good Morning Beautiful. When Girls Telephone Boys picks it right back up though, Battle Axe, and then Lucky You is a swing and a miss for me. I hate this song. There's nothing about this song that I like. It's a B-side. It doesn't belong on this record. I know we were on the heels of White Pony and Teenager, so maybe shoving this in there was like, you know, kind of like them trying to recreate that, but really, I do not like Lucky You. However, Bloody Cape, to this day, I think is a signature Deftones song, anniversary of an uninteresting event. Does it get more beautiful than that? And of course, the album closer, Moana. This is such a great record with two eyesores in it, really, to me. Deathblow and Lucky You. If those weren't on there, this would be a flawless record. Okay, this is a weird record. Following on the heels of Self-Titled, the band was kind of in limbo. I guess they weren't talking to one another. Chino recorded all of his vocals separately with a different producer. And so this record is kind of all over the place. But I kind of like that it's all over the place. This is a Deftones record that is really not it's like a greatest hits Deftones record because it's like a little bit of everything that they do in one record. I remember waiting for this record anxiously for it to come out because I wanted to see how they were going to respond from Self-Titled. At the time, Self-Titled left a little bit of a poor taste in my mouth, and I will go on record in saying vocally, Self-Titled is not Chino's best performance. So I was looking for him to kind of redeem himself on this record, and he does. Hole in the Earth is a fantastic opener. Rapture is so fun. Beware is still one of the best Deftones songs ever recorded. The outro to that song is mind fucking blowing. It is so fun. It is so heavy. And the chorus of Beware is beautiful. Not as beautiful as Cherry Waves. I have never heard Cherry Waves live, and it kills me that I've seen this band 16 times live and I have missed Cherry Waves. I think they've gone through the Bay Area once or twice that I haven't gone, and on those shows they've played Cherry Waves. I love that fucking song, and it's everything that I want Deftones to be. Melodic, heavy, beautiful. That's what makes Deftones in my opinion. I'm a huge System of a Down fan, so the collaboration with Serge, I don't mind. I know people shit on it. I don't mind this song. Mine is a good song. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good. And Serge's part is fine. I wish he was like more Serge on the song. He's kind of like in this lower register pretty much the entire time, but whatever. The instrumental's fine. Xerxes is beautiful. Rats, Rats, Rats is a ton of fun, and I actually like Pink Cell Phone. Like, it makes me laugh. Combat has one of the best guitar riffs that the Deftones have ever created. Kim Dracula is such a great song. And this record is great. This record is great. I know it came from a place of hardship, of distrust, of a rift between the band, and unfortunately, it's the final record with Chi Chang on bass, but it is such a great record. It's truly underrated in the band's catalog. It bothers me that they don't play more from this record, but it is a really, really solid record. Not as solid, though, as this next one. Koi No Yokan is the record that I think really brought the Deftones to this kind of like untouchable level. There's a lot to like on this record. There's a lot to love on this record. And as much as I really like the majority of the songs on Saturday Night Wrist, I don't love those songs as much as I really love the good songs off of Koi No Yokan. My problem with Koi No Yokan, though, is that it's not a perfect record. Far from it. There's songs that I completely skip on this record. Romantic Dreams, I don't really care about. Graphic Nature, kind of the same. Goon Squad's fun, but I don't need to listen to it a ton of times. So why do I have this ranked higher than Saturday Night Wrist, whom I apparently liked all the songs on? Because the songs that I do like, Poltergeist, Entombed, Tempest, Rosemary, I love these songs. These are songs that I think took the Deftones to this whole new level of like, you know what? They're festival headliners now. You can't fuck with them. They're not playing third from last on the second stage. They're headlining your main stage. They're headlining your second stage. And they're going to bring a crowd every fucking time because they are now in that legend status. No Yokan brought them, cemented them, if anything, in that legend status because it was like, wow, they're not that, like Diamond Eyes wasn't a fluke. Like these guys are back, and they're back in a big bad way. Swerve City is a fantastic opener. I kind of wish Swerve City had like a little bit of an intro instead of just like dun, 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 dun. I wish there was like at least just like 2 hits of a hi-hat just going dun, 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 just something so that I can like get myself amped for it, so I can just like start headbanging right away as opposed to like press play and then like it like hits and I have to kind of catch up with it. It's such a stupid complaint, but it's honestly something that's bugged me ever since the first time I heard it. No Yokan is a awesome record. What Happened to You is so cool. Tempest, Rosemary, Poltergeist, these songs are so good. Entombed is so good. This is such a fantastic sequel to Diamond Eyes. And speaking of Diamond Eyes, that brings us to number 3. This is as close as you get to a perfect record from the Deftones today. I remember when the music video for Rocket Skates came out, and I remember being kind of hesitant to press play because I didn't know what Deftones without Chi was going to sound like. And I was worried that it was going to be watered down, or they were just going to phone it in, or it wasn't going to be as good because Chi was so instrumental in the songwriting process for the Deftones. And so I remember being really hesitant to listen to Rocket Skates when it first came out. And I pressed play. I was sold. I was done. The Deftones that I had been missing from Around the Fur and White Pony had come back, and they were on a fucking mission because holy shit, this record kicks ass. There is not one note that I would change. There's not one lyric that I would change. There's not one production element that I would change. This record is a freaking banger. Unfortunately, it ends with the 2 most mediocre songs that they could have put. 976 Evil and This Place Is Death are throwaway tracks to me. I don't listen to them. I can't even sing it to you if I wanted to right now. I mean, This Place Is Death is okay, but 976 Evil, not my cup of tea. But Royal, the scream that Chino does at the end of Royal, goosebumps every single time. Command Control, you've seen The Butcher, Beauty School, Prince, which to me is kind of a sequel to RX Queen or Prescription Queen, whatever you want to say. Sex Tape. This record is, it's perfect, with the exception of the last 2 tracks, unfortunately. But that's okay, because it was such a comeback for this band. It was such a, you thought we were gone, you thought we were washed up, you thought that we put out like mediocre stuff in the past. We'll show you how freaking good we are. We'll remind you how good we are. This record kicked a ton of ass, and it is definitely one of my top 3 favorite Deftones records of all time. Now the magic question is, I think we all knew that it was going to come down to these 2 records, Around the Fur and White Pony. Which one's number 2 and which one's number 1? And I go back and forth. And I'll be honest, there's one record that I listen to more than the other. There's one record that I listen to in full more than the other. There's one that gives me the feels more than the other. But that's not the record we're talking about right now. Album number 2 is... This is going to be controversial, but that's okay. That's the point of these things. I don't think you can make a more perfect record than Around the Fur. The problem is that the Deftones did. But we're not talking about that record right now. We're talking about Around the Fur. Around the Fur starts with, inarguably, in my opinion, the Deftones' most powerful song. The Deftones' most signature song, with the most signature guitar line and the most signature chorus that they have. Or maybe pre-chorus, whatever you want to count it as. My Own Summer kills. It is such a beautiful track. It is so heavy. And it is one of those songs, like Smells Like Teen Spirit to me, where all these years later, I still hear it. I still want to groove to it. I still want to just like be in my car, just like, you know. And then, we go to Labia and Mascara and Around the Fur and Rickets. And I'm not even using notes for this. I remember I have this track list down in my head. Be Quiet and Drive, Lotion, Die the Flu, Head Up, and MX. This record is pretty much flawless. Die the Flu is the one song, and now, today, I love it. But when Around the Fur, when I first originally heard Around the Fur, and all these years that I've been listening to this band, Die the Flu was always the song that I'd skip. I was like, whatever, I don't care about this song. There's just something about it that, again, like kind of going back to what I was saying about Self-Titled, how Deathblow kind of slowed down the record for me. Hard to do, because Mascara is a slower song, but Mascara, oh my god, dude, that song. That song is so good. It's so good. It gives you the feels. I mean, it gives me the feels every time I hear it. It is so just perfect. It's perfect. But the heaviness of Be Quiet and Dry with that beautiful chorus, the all-time signature of Ricketts, Lotion's anger, and phenomenal chorus. Because that is what I love about this band so much. He screams throughout the entire verse of I mean, it's commonplace today, but in 90, when did this record come out? 97. It was to hear a verse that was like screaming from front to back, and then to not only to go to a chorus that's they're singing in it, but it's like it fits the music so perfectly, and it's melodic. He's not just singing to sing, he's singing to kind of like add a flavor on what's going on and to take you to a whole nother place. Lotion is such a freaking amazing song. And of course, Head Up with Max from Soulfly. Listen, the first time I ever saw the Deftones, short story, but the first time I ever saw the Deftones was Ozfest, I want to say 99. It was before White Pony came out. And I was excited to see them. They were on the main stage. I was in the lawn at the shoreline all the way back. And I remember I was like AOL Instant Messenger friends with this girl who I'd never met, and to this day I've never met, and I don't even know her real name, but I remember we met on a chat board, and she was a Deftones fan, and I was a Deftones fan. And I remember telling her, I'm like, I'm going to go see the Deftones at Ozfest. She's like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I really hope they play Head Up. And she's like, I've never heard them play Head Up before. And I've seen them like 5 times. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I go into Ozfest already disappointed that I'm not going to hear Head Up, but excited that I'm going to see the Deftones. And the first song they played in that set was Head Up. First thing Steph did when he got on his guitar was play da 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 da, and I was done. Favorite band status cemented. But Die the Flu just kind of takes it away from perfection for me. Around the Fur is perfect. It's really close to perfect, but it's not perfect enough. I remember the day that I got White Pony. Tuesday, back when albums used to come out on a Tuesday. It was Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. I got up. The Warehouse, which was the closest record store to me at the time, would open early on Tuesdays so you can get your music. And I drive to the Warehouse, and I walk in, and I remember making the hardest decision that I had made at that point. Should I get the regular White Pony with the gray album cover? Do the special edition with the black cover? Or do the special edition with the red cover, both of which had the Boys Republic on there? After much mulling around, and in hindsight, I really wish I had gotten all 3, but I was in college, so whatever. I ended up getting the black one. So I have the black special edition White Pony CD, case and all. Has a little card that says number blank of blank. And I remember driving home, putting the CD in my CD player, pressing play, and opening up the liner notes because they had the lyrics in there. And I went on a ride, man. White Pony's perfect. White Pony is the pure definition of musical perfection. Nothing's wrong with this record. From the absolute amazing production by Terry Dayton Crew, the songwriting is top-notch on this. It's all over the place. I don't know how this band wrote this music. I don't. Petitiera, which I still to this day don't think I'm saying correctly, is such a phenomenal opener. That riff is so badass. The lyrics, they take you on a journey. In fact, this entire album takes you on a journey. It's like you're almost watching a movie per se, because he's such a great storyteller in this record. Like Digital Bath, like Elite, RX Queen, Street Carp. He's literally took lyrics of, here's my new address, 6640, I forget, and made it catchy. Put it into a chorus. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, there isn't, if you're a Deftones fan and you go to a Deftones show, there isn't one song on this record that if they were to play live, you'd be disappointed. You'd be like, oh, they're playing this song. No, not one. And can we please talk about the absolute perfection, the absolute vocal / tonal perfection that is Chino Moreno's voice and Maynard James Keenan's voice coming together and making some beautiful music. Passenger is not only one of my favorite Deftones songs of all time, it's one of my favorite songs of all time. I'm at a loss for words at how good Passenger is. But if you want to know why this record is so important, why it is the record that it truly is, and why it belongs as the number one record, not only in my list, I mean, it's just my list, who cares, but really one of the best records in all of rock music, at least in modern rock music, it's because of this. This record opened a lot of doors for today's bands. If you're a band and you see the Deftones make an aggressive first record like Adrenaline, and an even harder but more polished record in Around the Fur, and then for their third record where they can bank on the success of what they've done before or completely hit the reset button, and they did, and have success. That is the blueprint that so many of today's bands have now followed, that have now made their own White Pony, their own opus, if you will, that kind of ebbs and flows, that has songs that are fast and slow and harmonic and beautiful and heavy and everything in between. White Pony is a record that opened all of those doors. And 19 years after its release, it still sounds like it was recorded yesterday. These songs are current, these songs are fresh, and they still kick a whole lot of ass. And that's why, my friends, White Pony to me is the best Deftones record ever made. Possibly one of the best modern rock records ever made. That's my list. Did you like it? Do you disagree? Let me know what your list is below, and leave a comment if you like this. Leave a like as well. I would appreciate it. Subscribe for more videos. I'm going to do another list video for another modern heavy rock band that I'm a huge fan of, with a huge discography that's going to take me a while to get through. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.